Episode 133 of the State of the Old Republic podcast was originally recorded on September 27th, 2025. It's the State of the Old Republic podcast. This week on the show, there's a new subscriber event happening right now. I'll tell you all about how it works, how long it runs, and what kinds of cool rewards you can get. Also this week, Galactic Season 9 is well underway. I'll share my thoughts on running flashpoints, the new combat enhancers, and the rewards on offer this time around. And with that, it's time to make the jump to lightspeed.
And cue the moron.
Welcome to episode 133 of the State of the Old Republic podcast. I'm your host, Ted, and as you heard in the opening, I have a great show lined up for you today. Game Update 771 went live on August 19th. It's been out there for a little over a month now. The big feature, of course, is Galactic Season 9, Flashpoint Resurgence. It's all about running flashpoints with a twist and earning a treasure trove of rewards. I've been actively running through it, and I'm a little more than halfway through the rewards track, which I think is pretty good this time. Let's break this season down and talk about those rewards and what it's been like running flashpoints. It's a typical evening on the Viking space dock. You're relaxing in the cantina, celebrating the rare joy of a day without blaster fire. You order up 2 Tatooine sunrises, layered red and yellow with flavor crystals that shimmer like desert sand. It's just a short walk back to your apartment on the fleet, so you're in no rush. You raise the first glass, savoring the moment when your comlink buzzes. You sigh, set the drink down, and glance at the display. A priority message from Kai Zykin. You wave to the bartender and signal for 2 more sunrises. Might as well stock up before the chaos begins, and then you read Kai's message. Greetings, you're fortunate enough to be hearing from Kai Zykin, Zerka's Vice President of Combat Enhancer Synergy. You roll your eyes and reply with, "Hold on, Zerka actually gave you a real job?" Kai brushes off your response and replies, "Now that I'm a rising star at Zerka, you wouldn't believe the amazing deals I can put together. I'm talking about a deal so great, I wish someone would hook me up with it." Your gut tells you to just end the transmission, but as you peruse the rewards Kai is handing out, you realize that your garage is a little empty and he's offering a selection of speeders from the new Viridier manufacturer. You quickly down one of the sunrises and let Kai know that you're in. You finish your last drink and head back to your apartment for some sleep. Knowing Kai, he'll have a set of enhancers on your doorstep by morning. Today may not have involved any blaster fire, but tomorrow sure as heck will. That's the setup for Galactic Season 9. It's about running flashpoints with random buffs to grant you power, and in some cases, add some challenge. It's a way to make these all too familiar flashpoints feel a bit different. At least that's what's supposed to happen. We're 6 weeks in now, and I've been using the activity finder to run the weekly flashpoints in veteran mode via the dedicated Galactic Season queue, which you must do if you want to complete the weekly objective and complete this season's meta achievement. The flashpoints that I've run are Black Talon, Athos, Mandalorian Raiders, Katamimu, Boarding Party, and the Foundry. One of the major changes that was made to the activity finder is the cutscene skip. When you run a flashpoint through the activity finder, all cinematics will just fade to black. No more spamming the spacebar or waiting on others to finish watching the cinematics. Some players were initially on the fence about this, but really it's much ado about nothing. Players aren't there to experience the flashpoints. They're there to get in and out as fast as possible. And that's the real story of GS9's flashpoint runs. It's not about the experience, it's about speed, efficiency, completion. And what about those combat enhancers? Most players aren't using them. Maybe it's the fear of empowered NPCs slowing things down. Maybe it's just a lack of inertia to remember to pop one. Whatever the reason, they're being skipped. Fortunately, you can still use them on your own in story mode flashpoints if you want to get the empowered NPC kills also needed for the meta. Take my Black Talon run, for instance. The tactics used by our group was to mount up, race down the hallway, aggroing every NPC in sight. We then tucked into a corner and AoE'd them down. Not exactly the hallway fights we've grown accustomed to seeing in Star Wars, like Darth Vader in Rogue One or Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. Other flashpoints followed suit. Trash mobs were skipped entirely or pulled into tight clusters for quick AoE burns. Mandalorian raiders, Katamimu, boarding party, all treated like sprint courses with a few boss checkpoints. The Foundry was the only one that came close to feeling like a normal Flashpoint run. It's a strange contrast to the intended GS9 vibe. The enhancers are meant to spice things up, but the player base is laser focused on throughput. The flashpoints are just a means to an end, or perhaps we've just invented our own gimmicks for completing these flashpoints. Instead of moving from one trash pull to the next, we say, hold my Tatooine sunrise, hop on a speeder, and run through the halls like Han Solo and Chewbacca chasing stormtroopers on the Death Star. The flashpoints may be the centerpiece objective of Galactic Season 9, but they don't feel all that different from the usual suspects. Kill 100 enemies with a companion in heal mode, complete 15 dynamic encounters, or knock out a few heroics. The wrapper may have changed, but the grind underneath is all too familiar. Kai may have come up short with the combat enhancers, but he sure conned someone at Zerka into letting him dole out some sweet rewards. Coming up, I'll dive into all of So now that I've talked about the flashpoints themselves, let's shift gears. Nar Shaddaa, the stuffed jewel of the underworld. You and Galt.
So who are we shooting today?
You hop into the driver's seat of your GDW weapon carrier, the newest subscriber exclusive mount. Galt swings onto the back and grabs hold of the massive blaster cannon mounted behind you. The engine rumbles to life, its deep growl echoing through the alley. Glance to your right and do a double take. Perched beside you, sticking out of the half-open burlap bag, is a Kowakian monkey lizard. You shout, "There's a monkey lizard on the mount, Galt." Galt replies, "Oh, that's just my new pet monkey lizard, Monty. One of the players was a little short on credits, so..." You cut Galt off and groan, "I hate monkey lizards, Galt. I hate them." Galt laughs, "Come on, show a little backbone, will ya? And step on it. They're getting away." The GDW weapon carrier roars forward, companion and mini pet in tow, as you tear through the neon-lit streets in pursuit of the stolen crystal. The chase is on. Hopefully that's a fun way of letting you know there is a new subscriber mount available, and it's very cool. The GDW weapon carrier is the second mount where you, your companion, and a mini pet can all ride around and adventure together. The mount is big, and I generally don't like large mounts. They feel slow and take up too much screen real estate. This one, however, works for me. It's got a nice sound package. I love the low grumble of the engine. And the devs seem to like it too, because we've seen a few mounts use similar sound packages lately. So you're probably wondering how you can get your hands on this motorized beast? Well, it's pretty simple. Just have an active subscription between now and October 14th, and you'll get the mount. That's it. You'll receive the mount via in-game email on all your current and future characters. In addition to the mount, there is a subscriber login event that runs from September 9th to December 9th. During that time, if you're an active subscriber, you will see an update to your login rewards window displaying a 4-day login bonus that will give you subscriber login tokens. Upon logging in on the 4th day, you will receive 6 of these tokens. They are a legacy currency, and they can be exchanged at a vendor on the fleet for a variety of rewards such as previously retired emotes, pets, and toys, 340 Rakata gear, more on that later, experience boosts, supply crates, and a droid customization that is inspired by K2SO from the Disney Plus series Andor. It is very important to note that this is a limited time event and that on December 9th at 7 a.m. Central Time, both the vendor and any unspent tokens you have will be removed from the game. This is a use it or lose it event. Also important to note, there is a cap of 18 tokens, so every 3 weeks you'll be forced to spend some tokens or risk not being able to earn more. If you log on 4 days every week for the entire event, you can earn a maximum of 78 tokens. And it's especially important to note that in order for you to receive credit for the login bonus progress and to exchange tokens for rewards, you must be an active subscriber. If your subscription has lapsed, you will not gain login progress and you will not be able to purchase anything from the vendor. All right, well, let's talk about the items you can purchase. The two standout items are the C2N2 and 2VR8 security droid customizations. They cost 12 tokens each, and the looks are inspired by K2SO from Andor. Now, some players have noticed that the customizations are bind on pickup and are not available for unlock in collections. Broadsword has acknowledged that this is a bug and that these customizations are intended to be available in collections. No word on when that will be fixed or how much it will cost to unlock them, but the goal is to allow you to buy them once and then have the ability to unlock them across your entire account. The other big item you can buy with tokens are 340 artifact quality endgame Rakata gear. They have all pieces available for 2 tokens each. If you are in need of endgame gear, there are a few ways you can approach this. First, if you haven't unlocked the armorings, mods, and enhancements from Hide and Zeke, this is a way to fast track that. Hide and Zeke sell 340 prototype, that's blue, quality armorings, mods, and enhancements. And they also sell 340 artifact quality enhancements. All of these items are bind on legacy, so you only need one character to have access to the hide and seek vendor. One thing to keep in mind here is that using hide and seek prototype armorings and mods with hide and seek artifact enhancements will give you gear that has identical stats to a piece of 340 artifact Rakata gear. Unless you're planning to work towards 344 gear, hide and seek is all you need. This is an easy way to build individual sets, minus an earpiece, relics, and augments for all of your characters. So, how do you use the subscriber event to unlock Hide and Zeke? What you'll need to do is buy 2 pieces of 340 Rakata gear from the subscriber vendor. Doesn't matter what kind you buy. Then you'll need to pick up 2 missions from Hide and Zeke. The first one requires you to deconstruct a piece of 340 prototype or better gear. Doing this will allow you to purchase prototype armorings, mods, and enhancements. The second mission requires you to deconstruct a piece of 340 artifact gear. Doing this will allow you to purchase 340 artifact enhancements. That's it. Now, the other thing you can do is just use the event to buy the 340 Rakata gear and then work to upgrade it to 344, which is the highest rated gear in the game today. I had Hide and Zeke unlocked well before this event, so I'm using this as an opportunity to build 344 sets for my Arsenal Mercenary, Gunnery Commando, and Lightning Sword Telekinetic Sage combat styles. As an added bonus, I'll combine pieces from both these sets to build a Vengeance Juggernaut Guardian Vigilance set. Those are the combat styles that I play the most. Alright, so let's get into my strategy here. When it comes to gearing, you want to do your best to min-max your tertiary stats. And what you need to understand is that the 340 Rakata pieces are static gear. That means the stats are baked into each piece and you can't change them. So why is that important? Well, to understand why that matters, we have to look at the tertiary stats. For the purposes of today's podcast, I'm focusing on putting together DPS gear. The tertiary stats you need to build around for DPS are accuracy, alacrity, and critical rating. I'm not going to do a deep dive into stat weights for every combat style, the importance of augments, or even getting stats from stims, and whether you should plan around having the Zeal perk, which, if you don't know what that is, it boosts your alacrity for certain content. But at the very least, you should understand the basics, and I'll start with accuracy. Accuracy is a DPS stat, and it has a cap. At level 80, the cap is 2694. That's how much accuracy you should have on your gear if you want to avoid missing attacks on bosses. Getting to the accuracy cap is your first priority when it comes to gear. Alacrity is a stat that affects the speed of your casted abilities and how often you can use them. There are breakpoints where you can reduce your global cooldown to 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds, and even lower. The last stat is crit, and as a general rule, once you've hit the accuracy cap and have enough alacrity to meet your GCD goal, you should dump the rest into crit. In a perfect galaxy, I would just buy all Boltblaster gear for my Mercenary Commando set, and all Force Lord for my Sorcerer Sage set, but it's not a perfect galaxy, so rule number 1, never go full Boltblaster, or Force Lord for that matter. The reason for this is even though Boltblaster gear is intended for mercenaries and commandos, the tertiary stats on each piece are not optimized. You'll be over or perhaps under budget if you just go full Boltblaster. So when building a set of 344 gear, the best way to hit your thresholds and caps is by mixing gear sets. The set I'm building for my mercenary commando will include a mix of Boltblaster, Force Lord, MedTech, Pummeler, and Force Healer gear. Don't get hung up on the idea that Force Healer and MedTech are healer gear. Focus on the tertiary stats and grab pieces that give you the best stat mix. And think about your final gear set when choosing pieces. Look at what your stats will be in full 344 along with the augments you plan to use. I'm going with the basic 83 augments as they are the most affordable for me. Also, when you go to purchase the 340 Ricotta gear, make sure you're on the right character. If you want Bolt Blaster gear, be on a Mercenary or Commando. If you want Pummeler gear, be on a Juggernaut or Guardian. The vendor gives you gear based on your current combat style and loot preferences. Also, make sure you're on a level 80 character when buying the gear. Once you've got your 340 Ricotta pieces, you can upgrade them to 344 using OP1 catalysts. These too are available for purchase with subscriber tokens. For 4 subscriber tokens, you can purchase 300 OP1 catalysts. So, if you're planning to build a full 344 set, factor in the cost of catalysts and make sure you're budgeting your tokens accordingly. It costs 160 OP1 catalysts to upgrade a 340 piece to 344. And one final bit of advice, when you go to upgrade a piece of gear from 340 to 342 or 342 to 344, make sure you remove any augments from the piece or it will get destroyed in the upgrade process. I learned that the hard way once. Regarding the earpiece and relics, you can't get those from Hide and Seek. You can purchase 340 Ricotta from the subscriber vendor, but I don't know how much control you have over which earpiece or relics you'll get, so be careful there. I already have a 340 earpiece and relics, and I plan to share those across all of my sets. I'm not using tokens to buy any more of those. I realize that's a lot of information to take in, so just to recap, the subscriber event is a great way to acquire some endgame gear. If you haven't unlocked Hide and Seek, the event provides a fast way to do that using a small number of tokens. The sets you can build from Hide and Seek are equivalent to having 340 Ricotta gear, and because you're using mods, you have a lot of flexibility over min-maxing your stats. If you want to work toward building a set of 344 gear, this subscriber event is a great way to get started, but because the gear is static, you'll want to spend some time figuring out which pieces will provide you with the optimal stats for your combat style. If you don't need the endgame gear, you could pick up some other mini pets, emotes, and even gear and boosts to help you level. That's everything I've got on the subscriber event. It's happening now and runs until December 9th. Whether you're chasing stats or just want a Monkey Lizard Day Monty, or want to give your ship droids a fresh look, this event has got something for you, but only if you log in and spend smart. Final note before I let you go today, and you can file this one under speaking of needing a bigger cargo hold. Over on Blue Sky, someone named Kyle Thorne reached out to Jackie Coe and asked, Jackie, I'm having a lot of fun with GS9. Any chance of getting a quality of life update? That being all die modules, regardless if they are rewards, GS, cartel crate, purchased from the GTN, the cartel market, or crafted, being stackable, and amounts of minimum 10, awesome 50, brilliant 99. Jackie gave a lengthy reply that delved into the decision process and impact of considering these types of changes. This is what she said. Hey, glad you're digging GS9. I can't 100% speak for the entire team or provide a guarantee for a revamp of this nature, but what I can say is that we are aware of the ask for this and we have had conversations about it. However, we don't have any immediate plans for this at this time. That said, I've talked about this before, but it's always fun to peel back the curtain a little to help people understand what goes into a decision like this. Anytime you think about overhauling a system, there are a lot of things to take into consideration. Now, everything I say next is purely educational and not meant as a we're going to be doing this exact thing. So, taking something like stacking a specific item on top of itself, the player facing experience is I can take one thing, drag it over onto another thing, and now they effectively multiply things in one section. So, how does that happen? From a development standpoint, you have to consider how that one thing works under the hood and if anything else in the game works the same exact way and or is connected with each other. So you have to think about if you change this one thing, will you inadvertently change something else? Other things to consider are what does the end result literally look like? Are there UI changes that need to be made? If so, that takes up one time for one team. Does a tooltip need to be updated? If so, what messaging do you add to make everything clear and understandable? Does an icon need to be updated? That's art time. How does this one change affect the overall system? Well, that's systems time. And those are just a few of the teams that this change would touch. From a non development standpoint, you consider the immediate and future benefits for the player and the game as a whole. You also have to consider what potential downsides are. Does this conflict with future plans for other systems? Can this change be taken advantage of and be used for nefarious reasons? Things like that. And if you're making something behave in a way that it didn't initially, a lot of times that's engineering time. So throw all of that and then some together and weigh it against the necessity of creating new content. Basically, for live service games, my experience, you're in a perpetual state of finding a balance between updating, maintaining, and creating. So, with all of that aside, I cannot give you a definitive answer as to whether that change will be done or not, but know that we do see the request and we have talked about it in detail. Also, sorry for the wall of text, I just like talking about this stuff. And I like hearing about this stuff. I'm a bit of a behind the scenes junkie and love it when they peel back the curtain on this stuff. Seriously, I can never get enough of this stuff. And, well, speaking of getting enough of this stuff, that's the state of the Old Republic for today. Let me cut in the sublight engines and cue the music and congratulate you on surviving another half hour listening to episode 133 of the State of the Old Republic podcast. I'm your host, Ted, and I thank you for tuning in. You can find this podcast on Buzzsprout, in iTunes, wherever else you find your podcasts. Also back to putting these on YouTube. You can listen to the show directly from the show site, which is sotarpodcast.com, and there is an RSS feed where you can subscribe to the podcast directly. If you have a question for the show, you can email me at sotarpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, remember the Sith code: hate